Mudslinging so early. Oh, it's recording. Yay. The vapors. Oh, look at all the smoke. Smoke bomb. Cut. Do it again. Okay. She didn't know dad like I did. That's why.
God, I wish I had a real name.
Too, I have one hell of a set of balls on me. We're looking a little bit. Hey everybody, it's Lena again. Thank you so much for tuning into my show. Today we're going to go ahead and talk about two different specific angels that I use all the time. What they do, what they can do for you, and how to go ahead and invoke them. Now, just by saying that, I have to tell you there's a difference between physically invoking someone or a being and then invoking their energy. So what we're doing today is we're going to be invoking their energy, their strongest parts of their energy. There's a whole other different ritual that happens to actually invoking an angel, like physically bringing them from the celestial realm into the physical realm. But to do that, you have to open up portals, and it's not really safe because it's hard to know who's going to come in. It's kind of like being in a ghetto neighborhood and then opening your front door and say, hey, come on in. And then you're expecting Santa Claus, but all of a sudden it's a serial killer. Things like that. So that's why we don't do things like that. But today we're going to go ahead and invoke their energy. So the first of the most. So there are 7 major archangels, but then there are 4 that I call the Fab Four. These are the Archangel Michael, the Archangel Uriel, the Archangel Gabriel, and the Archangel Raphael. The 2 that I use the most, or what I'll be talking about today, is the Archangel Michael, number 1, and the Archangel Raphael, number 2. Okay, and that's actually their rankings too. If you ever talk to them, those are their rankings. This is why they're pretty intense. And another thing, you wouldn't actually want to physically invoke an archangel's energy because you humanly can't look upon them without basically shitting yourself. I had a run-in with the Archangel Michael a few years ago, and I thought I was having a seizure, and my spine shook, and all of my organs tried to come out of me like I was a tube of toothpaste. So it was a horrifying experience, but he had a really positive message, and everything he said came to pass, and it was great. But it's super terrifying when it's happening, and then when it's done, you're really grateful for it, and it's really awesome, but you don't want to have to cross those lines. It gets terrible. So, but today, the first one we're talking about is the Archangel Michael. So the Archangel Michael is the Archangel of protection. He is like the number 1 angel for protection. He's in the Bible. He's in the Torah. He's even in copies of the Quran, for what I understand. I haven't read the full copy of the version of the Quran that I have now, but he is also one of the angels that are mentioned. So he's mentioned in many different cultures and many different religions, and he pretty much has the same appearance every time. So when you're looking at artwork, you're going to see him with the big wings out. He typically has some sort of armor, but his most thing that he's most recognized for is his sword or his spear. Now, every time that I've had dealings with him, he has a sword. And the one time I did get to see him, I got to see something really cool. So he does have like some armor on, but the ends of his wings are dipped in metal about that big. And so it's really awesome. So all he has to do is turn around. He can like decapitate 10 demons. It's pretty crazy. He's pretty intense. Also, you should also know that angels don't actually typically, they don't have a gender, but when they come to us in the gender that we're comfortable with. So after an abusive relationship that I had years ago, I had got out of, when I came face to face with the Archangel Michael, he was a woman the first time that he and I interacted. And because at that time I was very threatened by males, and so he came to me as a female and made me feel really comfortable. And then same thing with the Archangel Raphael. He did the same thing. But now when I see them as full-fledged males, but that's just because that's what vibes with me. So if you ever do have a visit from an angel and it looks like they're a female, that's okay. It's still true. It's still them. Now, the Archangel Michael, his name is pronounced in Hebrew is Michael. And you'll notice that a lot of the original names of the angels will have El at the end of it, because El is the name for God, as in Elohim and El Shaddai. These are all the great names of God. And so, and you're going to find out that all the angels originally came from Hebrew descent. So that's why all their names are kind of like that. But we say Michael. I pronounce Michael only because I have a really good experience. So I'm good at it, so I can say it. Anyway, this is the sigil of the Archangel Michael, or the Archangel Michael. Now, what the sigil is it's basically a type of his signature. So this is where the big power comes in. A lot of people, when they want the protection of the Archangel Michael, they'll get like one of the little angel cards, or they can get a statue or something like that, whatever represents them. But when you use the actual sigil, the sigil carries power unbelievable. It's hard to explain the differences to where if you were to have a statue of the Archangel Michael, yeah, you could envelop his energy, but this actually invokes his energy. Invoking is to bring it to you, to bring it to your presence, to be where you are at that time. And since this is basically his signature, it's like he's already here. And like I said, and then you don't have to be specific. What I do is, and I'll explain. So when you want to invoke his power, you're going to draw out the sigil like this. Now, we try to do everything in traditional back in the day sort of things. And so back in the day, when you wrote out his sigil, you didn't have scissors to cut your paper. And you would also use a plant-based paper like this. I use the bags from the grocery store. Yeah, they're very natural, and that's close to what the old paper was like. So we use that, and then we don't cut it with our hands. We tear it with our fingers, which is why this one kind of looks jagged. But anyway, so you get a piece of paper like this, rip it with your hands, put his sigil on it. Y'all can take a picture of that, or you can look it up. Now, there's a couple different versions of his sigil out there. There's another one that looks similar to this, but it's not quite. This is the oldest translation of it, so I go to the original one, and I find that this one here contains the most power. But if it's too hard for you to draw, you can take a picture of it. But typically, you draw it out, and it doesn't take long. It's really simple. Draw it out by hand, and then hang it above your door that leads to the outside. So your front door, your back door, your side door, you can put one at each door. I always do. The one on my front door, however, I put it on the front of my door. That way everybody can see it when they walk up. It scares a lot of solicitors and would-be Mormons not to come to the house. And so it really helps in a lot of ways, even though it is an angel sigil. Another thing that you do is once you put the sigil up, you go and get his oil. Yes, he has his own oil. He also has his own stone. I don't have the stone handy with me right now, but his stone is a lapis lazuli. So you carrying that stone invokes his protection, which is why that's a protection stone. His oil is frankincense. And so you get some frankincense oil. Once you put this up, you tape it wherever, you grab some of the oil and you anoint the sigil with it. And you can just say, I am protected, or be with me. And that's all you have to do. And he is a baller. He'll show up almost immediately, and you are protected beyond hilt. I always like to back it up with a little bit of kosher salt sprinkled at the door, like right outside the door, just in front of where the sigil is. It really helps. The next one, this one here, is the sigil of the Archangel Raphael. So minus this one little square, the tape that I used kind of like leaked on it. So that's what you're seeing there. But this is actual one. I actually just took it off my wall right now to show you guys. Same thing. You use the paper that you used from the grocery bags, rip it with your hands, draw the sigil out. Now, one thing I will point out about the sigil, you see this last little bit right here, how it's empty spaced? That's meant to be there. A lot of people think it's a mistake, like these ones up here, and so they fill them in. No, that takes it a whole different direction. You want to make sure this last little bit right here is empty. And then his oil is, oh my gosh, you can't even read this anymore. I've used it so much, but it's myrrh oil. And myrrh oil, as you know, is a resin, so it's really, really super thick, like thicker than syrup. And that's good. That's what you want. And so you take a little bit of that, put it on your finger, and you anoint the sigil. And now the Archangel Raphael is the Archangel of healing. He is the angel practitioner, the healer of all. He heals animals, plants, people, even other beings that we don't know about. He even heals other angels. And so if you are in need of healing at all, or say someone you love gets sick and they're in their room, you can write this sigil out and put it on their door and know that the Archangel Raphael will be there for them. And he's going to be there the whole entire time, making sure they get healed up to their best possibility, takes away pain. I know some people who they suffer from a lot of chronic pain. And so what they will do is they will take the sigil, anoint it with the myrrh oil, and then fold it up and carry it with them. And that way it invokes the Archangel Raphael to be with them the entire time. That way it helps with their pain. And so that's what the Archangel Raphael does. A lot of people, I highly suggest this. You don't have to do it, but I have had many a client who is pregnant and had morning sickness and had all kinds of stuff, had health issues with the pregnancy. And once they put the sigil up at their door, that all went away. In fact, the last girl that did it went and put one at every door that led to the outside, and she immediately stopped having morning sickness. Everything came out fine. Her blood pressure shifted. Like everything came out really well. And she was violently ill beforehand. So that is the power of the Archangel Raphael. And his stone is malachite. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a green stone. When it's polished, it looks like it has like little green stripes in it. It's like bright green. When it's raw, it looks kind of like a frog or like a piece of mold. It's really rocky and crumbly, and it does. It looks like a frog kind of sitting there. One thing to know about malachite is do not eat it, don't drink it, and don't inhale it of any kind, because malachite, after a while, can be poisonous, so you want to be careful of that. Lapis, the one that is for the Archangel Michael, that's a really easy one to get. It's really pretty blue, and it's called lapis lazuli. You've probably heard it before. A lot of people don't say the lazuli part, they just say the lapis part, but whichever. But yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed chatting about angels with me. So let's go over this again. Archangel Michael or Michael, Archangel Raphael or Raphael. All right, if you guys have any questions at all, please go ahead and leave it in the comments below. And before you log off, don't forget to like and subscribe this video. Give me a thumbs up, all right? Mwah!